Are you ready to unlock growth, build resilience, and confidently take the next step in leadership, career, and faith? Welcome to The Next Move. I'm Orvin Kimbrough, a CEO, author, and leader with a passion for helping people and organizations thrive. My journey from foster care to CEO has fueled my mission to help professionals scale their confidence, leadership, and influence through mindset shifts, expanded networks, and bold action. Each week, I'll share reflections ripped straight from my blog to inspire and empower you with actionable insights. Let's get started and make your next move your best move. Welcome back to The Next Move, where we explore reflections on faith, leadership, and personal growth to help you take your next step with purpose and confidence. Today, we're diving into a topic I've been asked about more times than I can count. What's the difference between leading in the nonprofit sector versus the for-profit sector? You know, this question gets to the heart of so many leadership conversations because it challenges us to think about what leadership really means and whether the metrics we use to define success change the way we lead. Having worked and led in both worlds, I can confidently say that while the fundamentals of leadership remain constant, the priorities, the pressures, and even the perceptions couldn't be more different. So let's unpack this together, because whether you're driving profit, purpose, or both, there are lessons here for all of us. Let's dive in. What's the difference between leading in the nonprofit sector versus the for-profit sector? It's a question I've heard countless times. Having led in both worlds, I can confidently say leadership is leadership. The fundamentals don't shift just because the metrics do. But here's the thing. The priorities, the pressures, and perceptions in each sector couldn't be more different. Let me ask you, have you ever thought about what really defines success in leadership? In for-profit, success often seems straightforward. It's quantitative, right? It's about the numbers. It's about revenue, margin, and market share. They're like the holy grail of success. Everything revolves around hitting those financial targets. But in nonprofits, the metrics can be vastly different. Numbers still matter, don't get me wrong, but they're not the whole story. There is a significant qualitative aspect. Imagine measuring success by how many lives you've changed. How do you put a dollar amount on someone's future? You can't. So you look at things like output, you look at things like impact, you look at things like outcomes, community engagement, and staff well-being. One of the biggest nuances in leadership is often how we define success, what we value most. Remember, metrics shift between these two worlds because of their missions. So here's an example. In nonprofits, losing money temporarily can be acceptable if it advances the mission. Over time, though, nonprofits must return to profitability. That is, if the organization wants to continue to provide services. In for-profits, losing money might be tolerated for a quarter or two if you're private, but only if it leads to future growth. In the public world, this can be the first long kiss of death. Profit remains paramount. It's the holy grail. Did you catch that? The context, my friends, shifts everything, and context is what shapes leadership decisions. So, why is there so little respect for nonprofit leaders? Nonprofits and for-profits occupy different places on the food chain. For-profits sell a product or service directly to the market. Success or failure hinges on the market's reception. Most nonprofits rely heavily on charitable giving and external support, making them 1 degree removed from direct revenue generation. This distinction creates a different kind of leadership pressure and, unfortunately, sometimes leads to less respect for nonprofit leaders. Let me tell you a quick story. When I transitioned to the bank, one of the constant refrains I heard was, "That guy is going to make this a nonprofit bank." And what they meant was I was going to make the bank unprofitable, or I was going to make the bank less profitable. I was going to take the bank off mission from maximizing shareholder value. At first, I laughed it off, but the truth, it stung. Those comments came from people who didn't understand nonprofit leadership. In reality, high-performing nonprofit leaders juggle challenges that rival and often surpass those in the corporate world. Think about it. You deal with shifting funding mix. You deal with tight budgets. You deal with diverse stakeholders. You deal with layered governance. You deal with mission-driven mandates. You deal with seemingly impossible goals. It requires extraordinary integrity and skill. If you can lead at a high level within a high-performing nonprofit, and let's be clear, there are levels to the game. You can lead anywhere. You just have to learn the context. Mission is a driver. Here's the truth. Organizations thrive when they have a clear sense of purpose. For-profits that focus solely on profitability risk losing their edge. Mission-driven leadership fosters authentic engagement. It fosters stronger brand loyalty. It fosters a more resilient and innovative organization. I often say of nonprofits, if you don't have money, you don't have a mission. But the inverse is also true in the for-profit world. If you lose sight of the mission, you lose the meaning and value behind the money. So ask yourself, what's driving your organization? Profit, purpose, or both? Here's my final thought. Whether you're leading a nonprofit or for-profit, the fundamentals of leadership remain the same. The real challenge is balancing both revenue and impact without losing sight of either. So here's where I want to leave you today. Are you driving profit? Are you driving purpose, or both? This is the sustainability dance. It's about finding that delicate balance where neither overshadows the other and both contribute to long-term success. Both contribute to long-term value creation and impact. The question is, how are you making it work in your leadership journey? Take a moment to reflect on your leadership. Drop me a note or let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear your perspective. Until next time. Thank you for tuning in to The Next Move. I hope today's reflection inspired you to take the next step in your leadership career or faith journey. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need a little encouragement this week. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you'd like more reflections or resources, visit orvinkimbrough.com or theaccidentalbanker.com. Until next time, remember, every step you take brings you closer to thriving. Let's keep moving forward together.